Growing up, I lived in the middle of the woods. No neighbors for about a mile on each side, and we owned 60 acres of forest and a swamp after that. So I basically lived in the middle of nowhere. One summer when I was about 14, I was out in the middle of the woods playing with my dog, when I kept feeling something hit my elbow. I'd go to throw Max's ball and the bump would make me throw it straight up in the air. Assuming it was just me bumping it on the trees or something, I just ignored it. After the fourth or fifth time of it happening, I thought, well, this sucks. I'll just go home. Walking back, I felt uneasy, but I knew it was just me freaking myself out because we were alone. About an hour later, Max and I are at home on the couch when the garage door opens and he starts barking. I hop up to, go let my mom and dad in, even though they were home really early. I peered through the peephole and saw the door was still shut and no one was in the garage. Quieting Max down, I opened the door slowly and I called out for my dad. Nothing. No response at all. So I got out to check the door and it's still locked. Okay, sure. Weird, but oh well. Max heard it too, so at least I know I'm not going crazy. About 20 minutes later, I hear the door open again, and this time Max starts growling like crazy. I quiet him down again and just assume it's the wind or something making noise, even though by this point my heart is racing. I hear footsteps come up the stairs and think, oh geez, Dad really is home this time. And I hop up and run to the door. It starts to jiggle, so I run faster to let him in. I peek through the hole, and even though my hand is loosely around the jiggling handle, there's no one on the other side of the door. Terrified, I go hide on the couch with all the lights on, but Max is still growling. About an hour after that, I start to feel a little better even though I'm still terrified, and then I hear the door handle jiggle again. This time it was Max jiggling it. He needed to go outside, and the only way outside is through the garage. Fantastic. I literally sprint with him to the kennel, and as I'm standing in there, I decide to ask this thing questions to make myself feel better because I knew it wouldn't answer me. Thinking about what to ask, my eyes are drawn to the huge, heavy oak door on the kennel. It was always open because it was too heavy for me to move easily. So I said out loud, okay, Ghost, if you're really here, shut this heavy door. Then nothing. A minute goes by, nothing. Max is still sniffing around. I turn around and yell at him to hurry up, and then from behind me I hear click. I whipped around and saw the giant door had swung shut and latched. Okay, clearly it was just the wind. It wasn't really windy, but it was the wind, for sure, it had to be. So I proceed. Okay, Ghost, that was the wind. If you're really real, you'll open the massive door back up. Then nothing. I relax a bit and then squat down with my head on my knees, reminiscing about how lame I just was being scared when I hear click, clack. The door was now wide open. Max was done, so we booked it back into the house, locking every door in the house. For the next 4 hours, I would hear the footsteps on the stairs and the door handle jiggling every few minutes, until finally, around 11 p.m. my dad walks and yells at me for wasting electricity. I never told him or my mom about it until about 4 months later, when my dad came in from hunting after dark. He looked shaken, and I asked him what was wrong. He said he aimed at 2 deer but missed both completely because it felt as if something was hitting his elbow and making him shoot way above the deer. That's when I told him everything. A few years back, I rented an apartment from a friend of mine. He had recently bought it and I had completely renovated it. He had put it up for sale but couldn't find a buyer, so I offered to rent it in the meantime. After moving in, I realized there was something wrong with the lady next door. She was about 45 but looked a lot older. She would sit up all night listening to Christian radio shows and talking loudly to someone. It got to the point where I couldn't sleep, so I went over to her place and I asked her to keep it down. She opened her door and I got a quick peek. All her walls had crosses painted on them in different colors, and words like Jesus and angels scribbled everywhere. The windows were painted black, letting no light in at all. It was damp, yellow-stained 50-year-old carpets, dog shit and cockroaches everywhere. But no dog, though. I asked her to please keep it down, but she just looked at me and shut the door. Then she turned up the radio even louder. The next night, I had my girlfriend staying over. I wake up in the middle of the night and I see a shadow of a person next to the bed looking at us sleeping. I think I'm hallucinating, as I usually do in the dark when I'm sleepy. But then the shadow started talking. It's my neighbor, and she's holding something in her hand. She broke in during the night, and who knows how long she stood there. She tells me that I should lock my door at night. The next morning, I hear someone making strange noises below my bedroom window. It's my neighbor talking to herself in tongue. She has a plastic bag in her hand with her rotting dead dog inside. It's hot as hell outside and I can smell the death from the bag. At this point, I'm scared, and she's obviously very insane. I go upstairs and I knock on another person's door and ask what the hell is going on. The guy is as scared as me. Apparently she broke into his apartment one evening as well while he was watching TV with his kids. He got up from the couch to go get a snack only to find her behind the couch staring at him, just holding a power drill. Now I know what was in her hand. At this stage, I'm basically just crapping myself. I call the cops and they all know about her. Apparently she is a violent schizo and she hasn't taken her meds. But they can't force her or enter her apartment without her permission because she owns it. The only thing they can do is get her when she goes outside. I sit up for the next 2 days waiting for her to run out of cigarettes. When I hear her leave at 2 a.m. to go across the road to the 7-Eleven, I call the cops. They have 3 cars and a special van over in less than 2 minutes. They restrain her and throw her in the van and drive off to some institution in less than a minute, and it's like she was never there. I never seen her again, but I still have nightmares about her looking at me when I'm asleep.